Greetings and salutations, my name is OJ as always, and this is a follow-up video, as I'm sure you can tell. Yesterday I made this video on the patch for Dead by Daylight 9.1.0, and I called it a buggy mess and that fog files were a nightmare. I was very unaware of how bad it got in 2 days. It's been 2 days since I made this video, well, give or take, and it's gotten worse. So much worse, and I want to do a follow-up because it is appalling. It is disgustingly appalling how bad this patch is and how embarrassing it is for just every behavior. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. First things first, I'm just going to address this comment. Thank you for this person. I'll cover the stuff about the clown main in a second, but I had no clue that Springtrap was bugged. I played him in this video. I played him in this video right here. I had no idea he was bugged, but if I am to believe this, this is stupid. None of these bugs existed to my knowledge. Like, these bugs didn't exist until this most recent update, so somehow they had released Springtrap in a very good state. I'd say I'll talk about it more later, but the Springtrap and Five Nights at Freddy's chapter as a whole was really good. It was very well released, and there wasn't much glitches to my knowledge. Obviously the stuff that was pre-existing beforehand that didn't get patched, again, talk about that in a minute, but for the most part Springtrap released relatively bug-free to my knowledge and from my own experience. And now this update's come out and Springtrap's bugged. Woo. Anyways, let's cover the first section of this video, which I'm going to dedicate to the butchering of the clown. I mentioned it in this video as well, but clown has, I would argue, severely been butchered. I downplayed a lot of the stuff in this update in this video, and this is what this video is going to be. Me correcting my mistakes and really actually digging into how bad this patch is, just as a whole. I'm sure if you are involved in Dead by Daylight, this content creator doesn't need any introduction. His name is Arinad, I think that's how you say it. He is the clown main. If there was anyone to have the title of the clown main, it's him. And he made, as it says in his bio, a 200-page Dead by Daylight clown guide. With these most recent changes, as you can see, there is a 2-hour-long video here on how the changes cannot go live. Now the changes are live, and even worse, for those that need a refresher, I have the patch notes officially pulled up here. The clown has extra haste from his afterpiece antidote, which is the yellow bottle, and it decreases the time it takes for the gas cloud to activate to 1 second when it was 2. This change has ruined the clown. Any and all skill expression that the clown had with the yellow bottles and the mixing of bottles to like backwards and forwards, gone, absolutely gone. Now he is just a mindless killer where you chuck your bottle at the ground, get your 17% haste, and just charge at a survivor till they die. The best way to play clown right now is to just tunnel survivors and do nothing interesting in any way, shape or form. It is appalling that you had the clown main saying that these changes cannot go live. If there's anyone more educated on the clown, or anyone who is the most educated, it's Arinad. There is no one else more educated than him. He is saying the changes cannot go live. They did, with extra buffs, because mind you, in the PCB it was like where is it? It was 12% for the extra haste, and now it's still 12%. Whoops. Anyways, ignore that. It's just I don't get it. The clown has no downsides at all anymore. Like, just throw the yellow bottles a bunch, get a bunch of speed. Oh, maybe throw a purple bottle now and then to slow down the survivor. Even like decrease the time it takes to reload. That's another thing that he doesn't have to worry about. Increase his movement speed while reloading. Another thing he doesn't have to worry about. He's become a mindless killer with no skill expression. Before, just as my personal experience, I used to throw a yellow bottle, pre-throw a yellow bottle as I was reloading, or like before I started reloading, so I'd have the speed boost coming out of the reload, because obviously he got really slow when he reloaded, to compensate. That's gone. You don't really need to do that anymore, because he's just, you know, a relatively normal speed. Woo. Awesome. Like, the stuff that they've done to the clown is appalling, and when you have, you know, the biggest clown player, the one with so many hours on it, and a massive document, like, why do you not listen? What's the point in a PT? Like, this is probably going to be the main point of this video. What is the point in the PTB? What is the point in the test server if you are going to see people complain about bugs, complain about changes, complain about this and that, and not actually acknowledge that? No, the majority of people who mained clown, to my knowledge, including Arinad, were against the clown's changes, because it would remove the skill expression and intricacies in his kit to turn him into a mindless tunnel machine that runs purely off of haste. But you didn't listen. If anything, you actually went against them by, like, it's just, I'm not sure what the plan here was. You didn't listen to the people saying these clown changes are really bad, don't do this. The only killer who seems to have had their things listened to was Knight. Because where the hell is he? Because obviously, as I mentioned in my previous video, I said this was awful. This line of code here where it said, oh, increase the standard spawn time, like the stuff related to Knight's spawn timers was bad. This is really, really bad. That would have gutted him. And, you know, to their credit, they didn't include it. But why did you not spare the same thing for the clown? Why are you changing this? If there's... Look, for those who don't know, I play Overwatch a lot, right? I quite enjoy Overwatch. That terrible thing to say out loud. And the one thing I will always give Overwatch is that they try to explain why they make the changes they do in their patch notes. They will always have like a developer comment underneath the patch note to say, oh, this is why we're doing this thing. DeadByDaylight desperately needs this, because I really, really want to know what the thought process was behind these changes. What the thought process in the PTB was behind these changes. These are both awful. They were both awful ideas to begin with. Thankfully, one of them didn't make it in. The other did, and gutted a killer that a good portion, or a small portion of people liked a lot. You gutted the clown, made him a skill expressionless killer, and no one's happy. No one's happy. No, survivors aren't happy. The survivors aren't happy because now he's like the ghoul. He's just annoying to go against. He just runs at you at 100 miles an hour and stabs you twice and you die. And you don't really have much counterplay around him. No one is happy with this. Clown players aren't happy with it, and survivors aren't happy with it because now he's just annoying to go against. This is a bad change. But instead of listening to people saying such on the PTB, you know, the thing where you put out these test things and you get people's feedbacks and then you change things according to the feedback, you didn't change things according to the feedback. What is the point in the PTB if you're not going to listen and then change things in accordance with what people were saying? Hello? Unbelievable. The stuff related to the clown is just terrible, right? It's just really bad. And whilst we're still talking about stuff related to balance and things like that, this perk right here, Conviction, is a problem. It is a big problem. I am not fond of this perk whatsoever. It has resulted in so much awful stuff, and it is causing situations where a killer is put in a lose-lose situation. Oh, I know there's someone around me with a flashlight waiting for the flashlight save. I'm gonna leave this person slugged on the ground. And then they just get up and run away. What are you meant to do? You are in a lose-lose situation there. You pick them up, you get flashlight saved, or flashlight blinded. You don't, they use Conviction and they run away. Of course, they need to be using Conviction, but it's not like the condition is particularly difficult. Heal one survivor, downed with 25% recovery. 25% is a lot easier than one would think. And of course, you get downed again after 30 seconds, but you've got 30 seconds to make a runner. And obviously, during this time, you can still use other perks. Like, say you have sprint burst, your exhaustion is up. You get up from broken, or you get up from being downed, you sprint off into the distance. The killer can't do anything about that at all. They are put in lose-lose situations because of this perk. And also, whilst we're still here, let's just mention the fact that, well, actually, what am I saying? That's a good question. I also wanted to mention, this is linking into the next topic, because for the most part, balance-wise, this patch is quite bad. It's quite bad, especially on the killer side of things, and this is just another example of it. Because of an item that I will address once again, this perk, Franklin's Binge changed. Franklin's Binge changed. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying. Franklin got changed. Because of the fog vials, you know, the lovely new item, which, as I just said, I will talk about, this Franklin's value is gone. One of its big draws was that it causes items that are dropped when you hit someone to lose their charges over time. Doesn't do that anymore because of the inclusion of the fog vials. And whilst we're here, I'm going to talk about them again. Fog vials. Get rid of them. For now. I am aware that it's cool that we have a new item for survivors. That's cool. It's cool and all. No, I'm not going to say that the concept isn't like a bad thing. Introducing new items for survivors would encourage more people to play Survivor. That's cool. That's neat. It's a cool idea, right? This is a horrible item. It's so bad. I don't know anyone that really liked them during the Halloween event, the crystals, which basically did the same thing as the fog vials do. And by the way, here's a fun fact. In the previous video, I talked about the glitch with the fog vials, where upon entering the cloud, killers could not initiate a chase. I didn't know this, but that was a problem with the crystals back when they were around in the Halloween event. So that's a problem that's been around for 2 years, I think? 2 years? And not once was it fixed in any way, shape or form? Nothing? You didn't... Again, I'm gonna repeat this phrase until it's drilled into your pretty little head. Why have a PTB if you're not going to listen and address the issues with the things people bring up? I'm sure many people brought up the fact that the fog vials disabled chases. Sure, many people brought that up at some point. But not once did they consider, okay, let's delay the release of the fog vials till we can get that sorted out. Because here's a fun fact, chases are the main gameplay loop of this game. Chases are the main thing that killers and survivors interact with. Everything is almost decided by chases. So, when they are unable to be done or initiated by one side, that item that causes it, because we know it's the fog vials that cause it. There is nothing else causing them. We know it's the fog vials, so kill switch them. Kill switch them until they are fixed and you know for sure that you can actually, initiate a chase after being in the fog. That's not a crazy thing to say, is it? It's not. I'm not crazy for saying that. But even ignoring the fact that, the fog vials are literally breaking the main gameplay loop of the game, there is still so many bugs. Hundreds and counting. It's insane how buggy this patch is. It's absurd, even. I've pulled up the DeadByDaylight status report. With the 9.1.0 release behind us, we wanted to hear about some updates and stuff. Oh, there's a kill switch. It's not the fog vials. They've kill switched the game, the map, the game, to work on an issue causing players' games to crash. Obviously, that is, an issue, and as I can see right below it, killers are unable to start chases. A tentative fix was deployed yesterday to address this mechanic. The team will continue monitoring bug reports to make sure all cases are addressed. Here's a fun fact. Before this video, after I saw this sort of tweet, post, whatever, I decided to, go play like 2 or 3 matches just to make sure, see if this tentative fix had actually done anything. In all 3 of the matches, there were people using fog vials, and I was playing as Springtrap. Every single time I entered a fog vial, I was unable to start a chase until I had actually injured someone. So clearly, this tentative fix did not fix it. So, what do you think the fix should be to, make sure that the main gameplay loop is actually working as intended? Do you think it's disabling the fog files? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, I'm so mad for saying that. Music doesn't play in the chase. That was in this video, actually. In this video, when I was playing as Springtrap, the chase music just didn't work for some reason. This notice has been popping up a few times. I saw a few people trying to create like parties for survivors, and it just weren't working. And although it says a fix was deployed yesterday, I'm still seeing people from like 3 hours ago saying as such. Copyrighted music setting doesn't prevent the Walking Dead theme from playing. I mentioned that in my previous video. It did actually affect me. I don't even know how this one happens. Killers and survivors are slowed down when going up the right-hand side of staircases. How? How? This is appalling. This is awful. This is a company, but Behavior Interactive. They are a company with 1,200 employees to my knowledge. By all accounts, they are a big company. I would argue they are AAA. I don't know a single other online live service game that releases patches with this many bugs this often. When is enough enough? When does it stop? When do we stop releasing patches that are just filled with bugs here, there, everywhere? It's just unbelievable. The only game I've ever played where bugs were more prevalent and more common is Paladins. But Paladins was abandoned for what felt like 2 years, and now it's dead. So, does it? I've been through the trenches. I've fought my way through Paladins' bugs, unlike any man ever. But this game still manages to baffle me. Dead by Daylight still manages to baffle me with how bad, like, the patches can be. But what really ticks me off is that we just come off a high note. Like, the Springtrap patch, the Five Nights at Freddy's patch, I would say was relatively bug-free, as I mentioned earlier, outside of, bugs that just still existed from a few months ago, and anything to do with the twins. But we've just had a high note. Everyone really liked the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff for the most part. Obviously, whether Springtrap's good or not, like, meta-wise, is debatable, and I think overall, as an adaptation and as a chapter, I enjoyed it, I like it. I think the map could have been better. I think Springtrap's perks are a bit meh. But, like, I enjoy Springtrap. That was a really good, I mean, as I'm sure you all know, but Dead by Daylight hit its highest player count ever in its history with the Five Nights at Freddy's chapter. We're coming off a high note, and immediately we are back to shit. We are back to shit on a platter of shit. Bugs galore, broken item that destroys the game, multiple killer changes that are just unbelievably just terrible, like damn near brain dead. I'm not sure what they're thinking, genuinely. I don't want to throw. I'm this passionate. Look, I'm complaining a lot. I can tell. You can hear it in my voice. But I'm complaining because I am passionate for this game and I do like it a lot. And I think it has a lot of potential. But when is enough enough? When is enough enough? How many times do we need to do these releases where there's just bugs upon bugs upon bugs all the goddamn time? This is really bad though. This is an especially bad patch. I've not seen anything like this since like maybe the Twins rework patch, where they were going to rework the Twins. It was a horrible idea, terrible, who even thought of it? So then they reverted it, but the Twins still had every single bug they had ever been given since their release. Yeah, oh yeah, by the way, Twins are still bugged many years on. Dracula, I don't know if I pulled anything up. No, I didn't. Dracula's bugged. He's been bugged for a while, I think 3-5 months or something like that. And he's got a bug where when he picks someone up, he just teleports out the map. He goes out of bounds for a brief moment. How is that allowed? How is that allowed in this game? Genuinely, it's like, do you not have a QA team? Again, I'm going to keep saying it until it's drilled into your pretty little head. Why have a PTB if you're not actually going to address or fix any of the things that people find on the PTB? I understand game development takes time, and bugs are sometimes tricky to solve. I'm well aware. made my own game back in college, and I'm well aware that bugs can just appear out of thin air, and sometimes it feels like there's no way to solve them. But this is appalling. You aren't some indie developer who is working on their own and struggling to do all. No, you're a big team. You are getting like feedback from hundreds of thousands of people about stuff, and you're just not seemingly listening. Like, we have this thread here where they speak about, you know, like, oh, music doesn't play within a chase. Why is that a thing that even passed the test server? Killers are unable to start chases. This was an issue in the test server. Kill switch. We disabled the game because it's causing people to crash. Why don't you kill switch the fog vials? Because you know that they are the things that are making it so killers can't do chases. I've already said it. I'll repeat myself. Get rid of fog vials until you know that they're not going to disable your main mechanic in your video game. And just this, I didn't even know this was a thing till I read this. It's just, how does this happen? How? Like, and you know, whilst we're here, let's talk about the actual chapter this has all come along with, the Walking Dead stuff. Now, originally in this video, you know, this one here that I made like 2 days ago, I complimented the Walking Dead stuff, and I said it was actually kind of decent. I like the interactions where like Daryl and Rick talk to each other when they're on a gen together. Oh, that's cool. What I didn't know is that Daryl and Rick don't actually have any screams voiced by their actors. So they got the actors in to voice all the voice lines, but didn't do any of the screaming or shouting or anything like that. And I'm just like, why? Why? I need to give a huge shout out, by the way. A lot of the information and stuff I've kind of learnt about this chapter has come from Scott Jund. He's another Dead by Daylight content creator. I'm actually quite fond of him, you know, seeing as we're basically finished with using my video as an example. We're going to talk about that. This video opened my eyes, as they say. The Walking Dead chapter is unbelievably lazy. It feels unbelievably lazy. As it says here, some of them shown sound effects louder than intended. Where was the clip? Yep, this clip. So, I'm just going to let you listen to this. Now, obviously, they weren't, for those that don't know, they weren't able to get, you know, Michonne's actor to do the voice lines for her. But whoever they did get didn't do a very good job. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to be very blunt. They did not do a good job. This is not any shade to the voice actor themselves, but they just did not do a good job. It does not sound right. As you just heard, the coughing fit that she's having is incredibly loud and almost obnoxious. And I couldn't, for the life of me, I searched for like 10-15 minutes, couldn't find the actual example. But in one of her voice lines, when she gets hooked, you can hear someone in the background, presumably like a voice director, saying, "Wow, that was a really good take." How did that get into a live server? That's lazy. That's awful. That's just a lack of quality assurance, like the very definition of it. Lack of quality assurance, laziness. I'm not sure what this patch has been cooking up with, but it's just awful, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm just bored. Every patch is just buggy in some way, shape or form, and I've seen people just go, this is the usual, behavior will fix it in like 2 weeks. No! We shouldn't just sit here and let them get away with it. Like, this is appalling, especially for a company of their size. It's not something you just kind of brush off and go, yeah, sure, typical behavior. No, this is appalling. This should be called out. And I'm sick and tired of seeing people just trying to, like, push past how bad this chapter is. Not just release-wise as an actual chapter, but gameplay-wise with all the bugs and all the issues with Clown and just... What are we doing? Like, we have confirmed that their voices are not placeholders, as in Daryl and Rick's screams. They sound horrible. They just sound really, really bad. They sound terrible. They don't even remotely sound like the actual actors who have done the lines. It's not even like someone trying to put on a bad impression of, you know, Norman Reedus, or I don't actually know Rick Grimes' actor's name. But it's just like, how is this all getting into the actual live server? And not to mention, there's just even more bugs by the day. Streetwise got buffed, and now you can infinitely stack charges on items. You can just swap your item that you held in your hand with an item in a chest, and it will give that item, assuming it's like a toolbox or a flashlight or medkit, just infinite charges. Infinite. I'm gonna repeat it again. Infinite charges. You can have an infinite toolbox because of this perk and how it's bugged right now. I know they don't like to pull out the kill switch very often, as we well know, even when it's very, very necessary, especially for the frog vials. But stuff like this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is a terrible patch. This is awful. I just... Well, actually, you know, no shade to this person. I'm not calling them out or anything. But this was what made me just go on the little rant. This is definitely one of those updates where you give DBD a few weeks to sort of shit out before playing again. Feel sad for the people whose job it is to stream this shit. But you're just kind of like not acknowledging how bad this patch actually is. Give it a few weeks, it'll be sorted out. No! Call them out! We need to call out stuff like this. Obviously, don't send hate. I need to stress, do not send hate to any member of the Dead by Daylight team, but just acknowledge how bad and how lazy this chapter has been, both content-wise, patch-wise, and just quality-wise. It's insane that certain killers are just bugged beyond belief for years with no changes whatsoever. Twins is notorious for being obscenely bugged for their entire lifespan, and they still have just not gotten anything. They've not gotten any changes, any help whatsoever, it feels like. Knight, he got his buff, but he's still buggy. He's still buggy as all hell. He's still got a bunch of weird jank to him that is not stuff like built into his kit. He's just weirdly janky for bugs. Scott Jund mentioned it in his video about, I think it was this, not the most recent video, it was this video, completely broken. He mentioned that he's had like stuff related to stutters and things like that, and yeah, me too. The games I said I played today, the 3 games, I was stuttering a bunch. I had a few times where I sort of like, not disconnected, but where the game like freezes and people start teleporting. Like, I haven't had that for a while. It's just, I'm not sure what happened. It's like they had a huge hit with the Five Nights at Freddy's chapter. It was really good, and it was relatively bug-free, and everyone was happy. Highest player count ever, and they were like, yeah, we don't need to try no more. And then they released this. I'm just going to... this is probably going to be the end of the video. Actually, one last thing. I mentioned him here. Pole of Doom. I know everyone's having fun and making fun of it and having like a laugh and stuff, but genuinely, this is just embarrassing as well. This is just another show of like a lack of quality assurance. I'm sure some tester pointed it out to a developer and they were like, nah, it's not priority. Then what is priority? Because there was some other, as we know, and as I've stated many times before, there are some terrible game-breaking bugs in the game that have not been addressed from PTB to live, but this still manages to get in. Like, the community named it and everything. We have this under review of our team. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. I know everyone's having a laugh and making fun of him, but genuinely, this is another thing that is just embarrassing and shows a lack of quality assurance and a lack of just lack of anything. I don't understand how this patch has come out this bad. It's appalling. I'm sick and tired of just patch after patch just being buggy and people just seemingly not really caring. I'm not kidding. I follow a few handful of Dead by Daylight content creators, right? And I feel like Scott is the only one who's been addressing this. I feel like I just feel like Scott is the only one who's been addressing not only how broken the patch is, bug-wise, but just how lazy the actual chapter that it's come along with is as well. And it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why does it feel like no one else is talking about it? Maybe it's just because I'm not seeing videos on it. Obviously, people are talking about it on Twitter and stuff, and that's good. That's good that people are pointing this out. But why does it feel like Scott's the only one, like, with a decent following pointing this out? Why is a lot of other content creators seemingly radio silent? It's just, I'm just wondering why. And I'm kind of just sick and tired of seeing people not address this sort of stuff, which is what this video is for. It's just to point out this patch is very bad and very buggy. Just content wise, I've said it hundreds of times before. I've drilled probably every single, you guys get what I'm saying. I've drilled probably every single word about how buggy and broken and stuff it is, and seeing people downplay it annoys me to no end. But it's just like, this is appalling. It's embarrassing. And frankly, I don't want to sit here and take it just laying down. And I'm contemplating, in the meantime, once I've gotten to, as you know, I've been doing Dead by Daylight videos. I've been doing a DBD-a-thon, as I'm sure all of you know. This, basically, all of these videos are just me doing videos on Dead by Daylight killers and going over them and lore, gameplay, blah, blah, blah. And I have been really enjoying these. These are very fun videos to make because it's just me kind of either complaining or getting very, like, passionate about how much I like or dislike killers and stuff. But I have footage as of current going up to Singularity, right? And I'm contemplating that if the game is still in this state for, like, say, give it a week. Say, let's give it a week, right? I'll make my video on Singularity. I'll get up to him and I'll pause. Because if the game is going to be in this state where it's just partially broken and just unfun to play in every sense of the word, why would I want to make footage or make videos on the game? I obviously have to play the game to get the footage for my videos. All of these videos contain mostly my footage, outside of maybe a rare instance where I'm showing an example of something that I obviously can't capture myself. I try to capture everything myself, because obviously then it's my content. The only time that I didn't do that was for the Yakuza video, because I'm not paying 500 quid to watch Yakuza 0 director's cutscenes, right? But if the game is going to be in this state where it's unfun as all hell to play, buggy as all hell to play, just unbelievably broken, for lack of a better word, I'm just gonna pause the series. Why I have to play the game to get the footage for it, but why would I even want to do that? Why would I want to play, like, any killer to get I'm lucky I did my Singularity video when I did, because fog vials counter him badly. He can't use his power when a fog vial is up. It's just kind of difficult to think about. Like, this little bit is just me kind of rambling a bit, because I like Dead by Daylight. I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure you can see that. I enjoy Dead by Daylight a lot, but I'm not a Dead by Daylight content creator. I need to stress that. That's not what I want to be. I don't want to be a Dead by Daylight content creator. I am just a person who really loves video games, and as of current, Dead by Daylight is always, or forever, Dead by Daylight has always been one of my favourite, like, multiplayer games, because I'm a big horror nut, even if I am a wuss and I can barely watch horror films without quaking in my boots. I can barely handle a spider without quaking in my boots. But it's just like, why would I want to capture footage and talk about the game when it's in just a buggy state, just this week? It's just been an awfully buggy state. If it stays in the state, I don't want to make videos on killers. So, all of this rambling and kind of just out there looping back in on myself, basically what I'm trying to say is that if the game isn't fixed in some way, shape or form, like, especially if the chase bug, that's the main thing I'm worried about. If the chase bug is not fixed within, let's say, a week's time, I'm just going to move on to something else. I'm just going to move on. I'm going to move on to a different game to cover, or cover something else. until they fix the chase bug. Let's draw the line in the sand there. Once the chase bug is confirmedly fixed, like rock solid, it's definitely fixed, there's no way it can happen again, then I'll make more videos, right? I have footage for Singularity, or up to Singularity. I'll still make the videos, you know, the killers I need to make videos on are Knight, Skull Merchant, and Singularity. I'll still make those videos, don't worry, I have the footage for them. All I need to do is just record my audio and the usual editing stuff. But beyond that, until the killer chase bug gets fixed, I'm not going to be doing any more videos. I don't think. Just think of it as like a show of protest, I suppose. It's just, until that, like, how am I meant to get good footage for videos for you to enjoy and watch if I can't even start a chase properly without, you know, having to injure someone first? It's just, this patch has been awful. It's just been like a swarm of negativity, and I know I'm adding fuel to the fire, but I'm not going to just sit here and let them do this. I don't want people to just kind of sit there and lay down and just say, it's another buggy patch, whatever. I'm sure some people can probably do that, and if you can, I actually am jealous of you. I wish I could just kind of sit here and go, another buggy patch, I'll think about it in a week or time. I can't do that. I can't. Especially not when I'm in the midst of making videos on, you know, the game in question. But yeah, this video is going to be just like this one, very unscripted, very loop-de-loop. I'm probably blabbering out of my arse right now, like a lot of the stuff I'm saying probably doesn't make too much sense to you. But this is basically, I've said that a few times now, I'm not going to make any more videos on Dead by Daylight until they fix the killer chase bug. I have footage for Knight, Skull Merchant, and Singularity. I'll make their videos, but after that, until the chase bug is fixed, I will not be making more videos on this game. I'll find something else to do. I'm sure I can make videos on another game. I'm not a Dead by Daylight content creator, although I've obviously covered it a lot. Basically every single video I've made in the last month has been on Dead by Daylight. It's just over the fact that I am very fond of this game, and I wanted to express my love for what I do love the most, which is its killers. But if I'm not enjoying playing the game, and it's just miserable to capture footage for, I'm not going to make videos on it. Simple as that. I have a big Steam library with many games I could make videos on. Hell, if I felt like it, and I have been contemplating it, I've been thinking of doing Overwatch. I've been thinking of doing, like, similar to these Dead by Daylight videos, where I go over each individual Overwatch hero, cover their lore, cover their gameplay, stuff like that, in a similar vein to these. I did do that with the Ramacha video. However, that video was basically my first video. This is just kind of like the generic, like, oh, this is what I want my channel to be, and I don't actually think it ended up the way I planned originally. But this video I made, as you can see, it's an hour and 14 minutes long. I scripted it. I scripted that video, and I'm not very proud of that video. I put a lot of effort into it, like with the recording and the scripting, but as an actual video, it's not very entertaining to watch. It's just me talking, which I guess these videos kind of are as well, but you have my actual gameplay in the background. There's gameplay in the background there, but in this video I'm very stilted, very awkward, very timid. I don't sound very confident in the way I speak, but as you can tell from the way I speak now, I'm far more confident, at least in my opinion. I'm far more energetic, I'm far more, lively per se. And I think doing Overwatch, like an Overwatch character analysis for each of them, it's not really something I've seen online. Obviously, the idea behind YouTube videos is you kind of like make your own market and stuff, and like for the most part, obviously people have done dedicated videos on killers, but not in the same sense that I have, at least I don't think. Maybe there is someone out there that's done it before, but I feel like I like my videos. I feel like they're unique. I feel like they are personal pieces for me. And as you can see, I really love the Dredge. So that video was a sort of love letter to him. But, someone else in the world may have made a video like this, and it was just like, the Dredge sucks, and that's the title. But either way, I'm rambling very, very badly. We're not even talking about Dead by Daylight anymore. But yeah, to round out this video, to close it out, to give some final thoughts, this patch, the Walking Dead patch, is incredibly buggy, with a bunch of changes that are downright appalling, such as the clown changes, and it is also a very lazy chapter, which does suck in every sense of the word across all three of those departments. The bugs obviously suck for everyone, including myself and other content creators and just people that just play the game day in, day out. And the laziness of the actual chapter itself sucks for people who are fans of The Walking Dead and stuff. It's just, this is a terrible patch. It's a very, very bad patch, and I'm severely disappointed. Severely. I've been through this before. I've been around since the game basically came to Xbox the first time around with like the special edition and stuff. I've seen the worst of the worst, and this is one of them. This is a very low point, at least patch wise. In general, I'd say the spirits were relatively high going into it, which is a difference, but yeah, this is bad. This is really, really bad. It's like bottom 5 patch of all time. But anyways, with that said, I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on and on and on. This video is just, yeah, very unscripted, very just complainy per se. And yeah, I hope you have a good evening, afternoon, morning, etc. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed my rambles, or if you feel so inclined. And yeah, I'll make my video on the night tomorrow, hopefully. And I also hope to make my video on Skull Merchant Singularity. But until the killer chase bug is fixed, I will not be making any more videos on this game. I'll move on to something else for the meantime. And I hope you're ready for whatever comes next. And I hope you enjoy it all the same. Because I hope that just me, as in OJ, my personality, is the thing that keeps you coming back to these videos. Because that's what I more plan for these videos, that people come for my commentary and what I have to say, less so than the actual topic in question. But obviously the topic and me kind of have to go hand in hand. You get what I'm saying. Anyways, hope you enjoyed, and I shall hopefully see you in the next one.